This next panelist, we don't call him a panelist. He's actually our brother, and he's turned into family. Senior basketball advisor for the New York Knicks. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Gersson Rosas. All right, have a seat, Gers.
Thank you, Armando.
Hey,
Great
listen,
to be
you
with
speak you speak at other conferences. Aren't there good-looking people in the audience?
It's a great group.
So, before we get into the nuts and bolts, give the audience a little bit of who you are. They got to get to know you. They're texting me, who is he? Who is he? Who is he?
That's a pretty open and wide question. But number one, very excited to be here with you all. I haven't had the opportunity to be around NAHREP and Latitude over the last year. I've been very impressed with the organization from top to bottom, the leadership division, and it's a great honor to be here with you guys today. Share a little bit about my background and my experiences, and hopefully something that you guys can take away. But I've been very blessed to have had opportunities that maybe other Latinos and Latinas have not had, and the opportunity of leading a basketball organization. And having been president of the Minnesota Timberwolves, GM of the Dallas Mavericks, front office executive with the Houston Rockets, and now with the New York Knicks. Thank you. It's a blessing that I really take to heart, and a lot of people played a role in this process. And it just started as a passion for a kid very early on. From Bogota, Colombia, immigrated to Houston, and just grew up loving sports and had a passion for sports and played everything that you can imagine, played basketball and fell in love. And from a very early age realized that this is what I wanted my career to be. I knew from a physical and talent limitations I was not going to play in the NBA, so I had to find a way to get there. And I didn't know if it was coaching. I didn't know if it was going to be as an executive in the front office. But I had that passion. And I had the opportunity to be around a lot of good basketball people that really served as mentors and guided me through different areas and helped me put me in a position to get my foot in the door in the NBA. And I started as an intern with the Houston Rockets. I actually did it for 2 years. And it's a little crazy for your family to know, like, you're going to go work for this sports team. They're not going to pay you anything, and you're hoping that you can get a job out of it after 2 years. And that's different for Latinos and Latinas and immigrants coming into this world, but that's a reality. In this industry, there's more supply than demand, and you have to differentiate yourself, and you have to prepare yourself. I was really humbled through that process in that after 2 years and being an intern and really getting the experience and the relationships, I was told that if there was a full-time position available, I wouldn't be able to qualify for it. I didn't have enough experience. I didn't have enough credible experience to do it. And a friend, a mentor told me that, and it's the best message that I received professionally, because you either fight or you flight. And the reality is I took it to heart. I became an assistant coach at a high school in Houston. Had an incredible experience there. I went to the University of Houston, became a graduate assistant, and really got my feet under me and really got great experience, continued to build my relationship network, and really had an understanding of what it was going to take in order to be successful in this industry. And after those 2 years, fortunately, I got an opportunity to rejoin the Houston Rockets in an official capacity as an entry-level scout, starting my way at the bottom all the way to the top. And it's a path and a process that's less traveled, but it's one that's allowed me to have the sustainability and the success that I've been able to translate here in the NBA.
And for you guys in the audience, if you put yourself in his journey, it's from loan officer, originator, realtor, to eventually a branch manager, a brokerage. And that's why it's important to connect the parallels. You said something last night that it was about the work, not the level, right? Because that shows your passion, your commitment, because sometimes people want things too quick. Talk to them a little bit about last night when you said, to me, it was about the work, not the level.
So a lot of times when you look at a big picture and you know where you want to be, you don't know how or what it's going to take to get there. A lot of times you just want to rush through processes. You want to rush through stops to get where you think is where you need to be. But a big part of it in this industry and a lot of other industries, for anyone, especially for minorities, it's not about just getting the opportunity. Like people say, hey, I just need a break. I just need an opportunity. I just need a job, or I need to get my foot in the door. That's not what it's about. With the level of competition and the level of demand, you have to know what you're talking about. You have to have credibility. You got to have content. So I, starting at the bottom, gave me the perspective and the understanding to know how this league works. And you can't skip any steps. You have to really learn and understand how everything works, because that allows you to be a better leader. It allows you to help other people, and it helps you to build organizations. I've been fortunate to be around a lot of winning organizations, a lot of great players, and a lot of it is not how special you are or how talented you are. We're in the business where our results are posted publicly every day. You either win or you lose. What kind of season did you have? Do you have trades? Do you have signings? Do you cut players? Did you fire your coach? Did your front office get fired? Like, we're very public. And if you don't have the vision and the understanding of how to set up infrastructure, how to set processes, how to execute a vision, you're not going to survive in this league. The average lifespan of a president, of a GM, is 3 years. And you have 3 years to reset an organization from top to bottom, to have a philosophy and to bring it to life. And if you don't, you're not going to get the opportunity to continue.
So you've mentioned you've worked with a lot of winning teams. What are some of the characteristics of those leaders? Your perspective on leadership.
So I really look at leadership around the subject of passion. I know if somebody has passion, I'm going to get an overachiever, a guy that's going to find ways to be successful. In the same token, if you don't have passion, everything is hard. Everything is complicated. Things don't make sense. Success is harder to achieve. People are a critical aspect of success in management and leadership. Not only having good people, but identifying good people, developing good people. And that's the lifeblood of an organization. And then the last one is purpose. And by that I mean process, infrastructure. You have to have sustainability. You can't just be a guy who shows up and scores 50 points one night and you don't do it the rest of your career. I'd rather have somebody that's going to score 20 points a night every night, and I can know I can depend on that guy, because there's character, there's a sustainability that's going to allow us to have success. So whenever I look at leadership or management, I'm focusing on, do you have the passion? Is it the right person? And do they have a process and an infrastructure and an approach to be successful?
That's on the winning side. That's awesome. What about a quality you've seen in just busts, right? So in business, we have big dreams, but we may not achieve the goals that we want. What is the biggest killer of success in you've seen in the teams you've managed?
On the team side, the number one critical factor of success or failure is alignment. You can have the best strategy, you can have the best ideas, you can have all the resources, you can have the infrastructure, but if you're not aligned, if leadership is not on the same page with the staff, with the structure, with the players, with the organization, you're not going to have success. And that's the simplest thing to say, it's the hardest thing to do, because you have to live it every day. What's our philosophy? And who you are is what you do. You can use all the fancy words, you can think that you're doing meetings for the right purpose. What you do or what you don't do every day is going to determine who you are long term.
Did you guys hear that? The simplest thing to say is the hardest thing to do. It could apply in our personal life. We know we should eat better. We know we should exercise. Last night, they deprived us of carbs, and we went to an Italian restaurant, but it was a sacrifice. You're supposed to laugh at that part. I know people are like, we're not giving up carbs, bro. We're Latinos. But that is key. I want you guys to apply is the easiest thing to say is the hardest thing to do. Let's get up every morning. Are you prospecting? Are you listening to what Juan Martinez and Nora said in the panel before us? So we talk, obviously, he'll text me real estate questions. You own real estate. At what point in your career, because your profession was basketball, just like here we have lenders and realtors, at what point in your career did you start thinking, I got to start building wealth through real estate? Talk to us through that.
I mean, very early on, being an immigrant, as there's a lot of individuals here in this room, being able to say that you own a home is such a monumental statement for a family in generations. So that comes on very early, and not just of how you're investing your money, whether you're going to do it in rent or you're going to purchase a home. So to me, that's been very top of mind in terms of, like, you look at investments, you look at assets, and you look at not only the history but the future with real estate. And overall, being in these circles, talking to different people, knowing how success is made and done over time, like, you can't compare with real estate.
Now, what percentage of the players do you think, because they're young and they're getting these multi-million-dollar contracts, what percentage of players do you see that are missing the opportunity by not purchasing real estate?
I think it's a large percentage, and you all know better than me specifically, but it's an education point. Like, yeah, it's common sense. Real estate is a good investment, but what does that mean to you? Is it purchasing a home? Is it purchasing a rental property? If it's getting involved with real estate projects or opportunities, the reality is our players have good representation. They have agents. They have financial managers. But if they're not passionate about it, if they're not educated about it, and they don't understand the opportunities, they're not going to fully maximize their investments. And that's something that applies to all of us that aren't in this industry. You either have to have a really good partner that can educate you and walk you through the opportunities, or you need to learn it for yourself.
Speaking on that, let's give him a round of applause for that. It's the immigrant experience. We find in our State of Hispanic Homeownership report that immigrants coming to this country are more enthusiastic of homeownership, of voting. And I think sometimes outside eyes in gives it a different perspective, right? So because we have realtors and lenders in the audience, is there anything in your real estate, career purchasing that a realtor did well that stands out?
I'm a big strategy guy, whether it's the MBA or whether it's finances or whether it's real estate, and I look a lot at, like, and I'm in terms of real estate, I'm very early in my process there, but I really find the best agent, the best partner that I can find. And a lot of times it's not only educational wise, but like, hey, this property, the upside's here, the downside's here, really walking you through the good and the bad of any investment or any opportunity you're looking at. That's what I value. And then people that have been in the industry, people that know the market, people that understand strategy. And to me, that's like the marker that you feel good about. Because the reality is, like, what I'm talking about, it translates to any industry. What you guys do, it translates to any industry. If you do it the right way, whether you're selling things or trying to win games, it's the same basis, and it's the same approach, and it's the same philosophy. And if you're consistent, you're professional, and you do a really good job with it, you're going to be successful in anything that you do.
And I ask his experience in buying real estate because we deal with homeowners in different price ranges, and you want to listen to executives and what they look for in a lender or a realtor. So those are the good things, the strategy. Has any realtor ever screwed up and you're like, man, I got to fire this kid?
Oh, I've fired multiple realtors.
Write down notes so you don't get fired.
No, and part of it is like, hey, I don't know the industry, so I really depend on these people. Yeah. And if I'm giving bad advice or if I recognize opportunities that they don't recognize, like, that's a red flag.
Why do you think it wasn't up until NAHREP at Latitude or NAHREP that you hadn't seen something like, because you speak around the circuit and you've seen a lot. Why do you think Latinos haven't been able to put that together?
I can only speak from my perspective, my experience, and a lot of that will be sports, but we had the discussion last night at dinner. People say, why hasn't basketball developed more in South America? And I'll give you an example. Like, football, soccer is king, and the development cycle of that has taken time over a long period of time. Baseball is really taken off. The reason I think basketball hasn't been more successful is because we're so divided and we're focused on the wrong things. I was telling Gary and Armando last night, the pro leagues, and whether it's Argentina, Colombia, Brazil, Puerto Rico, Panama, they're leagues that are very low level. And that's not to be offensive to them. It's just the reality of a league that lasts 2 months, the level of talent, the level of development. But, and I'm as guilty of this as anybody, we're so worried about the image and getting credit and the platform that we don't realize that we might be working hard, we're not working smart. And in reality, I've dealt with federations in South America, and I tell them, don't worry about the pro league. Worry about the junior program. Worry about the young players. We don't have development platforms. We don't have programs. And all through South America, not only is there a division by every country and every background, but there's no good high school programs for players that want to play sports. There's no good college programs. So the development curve is much different. And when we try to spotlight a pro league in those markets, it defeats the purpose because you haven't done the work beforehand. So I say that as an example of like, we need to get to the root of the issues and work on that instead of the superficial, like, hey, check the box, I did it, when in reality that has no substance.
Yeah, I agree with, because I think we have to embrace the similarities versus focus on the differences, right? And Latitude and NAHREP has never been a check the box. Gary, you know, obviously will edit this part because, you know, we try to stay away from diversity panels because they put us all in one box when Latinos are a major force themselves, right? So let's get into some fun facts. You ready? A person you would trade places for the day, who would it be?
Oh, that's a tough one. You know, I being in sports, like that's not a real world. Like we have hundreds of $1 million budgets, we play games, like we're not saving life and death, we're not changing the course of the world. We're trying to maximize philosophical strategies on the court. So I try to make sure and take a step back and realize that this has to be a vehicle to better not only where I come from, my family, the people, the nation where I come from, but other Latinos. So to me, I know I'm stalling the answer here.
I was like, I gotta call you out. I gotta call you out.
I mean, I would love to be somebody that can really help others, and whether that's governmental, financial, whatever the case may be, is having a platform to give back to others and help them I've been very blessed to fulfill my dreams in the NBA, giving the opportunity to other Latinos and Latinas to have that same opportunity in whatever industry or sector they care about.
That's good. Let's do better than the next question. Just kidding. Embarrassing moment growing up, but today you appreciate.
I'll be very honest. Like I came to this country at 3 years of age. There's nothing like, and at the time you don't appreciate, but you're learning language, you're learning culture, and it's a transition period. And I still vividly remember learning English with my parents. Mm-hmm. And that is something that's impacted me my whole life. To this day, trying to explain to my Colombian parents what a peanut butter and jelly sandwich is was quite the challenge. Yeah. But in my mind at the time, I'm like, why do I have to go through this? Why is this a reality for me? And now I'm thankful for it. My parents sacrificed to give me an opportunity. My dreams have been fulfilled in this country. And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be where I'm at today.
There you go. A round of applause for that one. I think it's important. I was actually, it's those moments we've all experienced growing up Latino or Latina, is that we were embarrassed. I remember not having the peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I had the rice and beans and no lunch pail, right? But I look back now and I appreciate being raised that way, but back then I was a little embarrassed. Something you wish you were better at?
I played ball up until like my late 30s, and part of that was because I tore my ACL, and it was no fun scouting around the world as I dragged my leg after surgery. So I'm still trying to be super competitive. I've gotten some experience now in pickleball, and I need to improve my game. Like Bree and I play, and she gets the better of me one-on-one. Now we play doubles. I got to carry her. But I got to step my game up in that area.
Okay, there you go, pickleball. Plus you do yoga. See, listen, expand your Latina-ness. Let's not be embarrassed. Let's not be embarrassed of that. All right, best piece of advice you ever got?
The best piece of advice, The biggest thing is being honest with yourself. Whatever the situation is, whether it's personal or it's professional, whatever the case may be, you can't lie to yourself. You know what the truth is, and dealing with that allows you to move forward.
You hear what he said? You can't lie to yourself, so round of applause for that. So before you hit that filter feature on your Instagram story, think twice. All right, last question. What never fails to make you laugh?
Well, I love to laugh. And, whether it's a comedy movie or whatever the case may be, we go through a lot of things in life, and the reality is perspective is everything. There's a lot of different sayings like what really matters. Is it, focus on the things that matter in 5 years, not in 5 minutes or 5 hours or 5 days. And that to me is important. But if you can't enjoy what you do, and I used to say this to my staff in all of my stops, but we're in sports, we're in basketball. If you can't be a good guy, if you can't be a good girl, if you can't do things for the right reason, you don't deserve the blessing you have to be in this space. And we're all given a lot of opportunities. We're all blessed to do what we do. And if you can't realize, it's not a real job. I thank God every day that I get up and can fulfill the dreams of a childhood. I remember I was the kid who at 7, 8 years of age is waking up, watching ESPN and reading the newspaper, and everybody's like, what's wrong with that guy? I was reading transactions, I was reading trades, I was reading signings of what was going on, and that was my passion. Mm-hmm. And to see that become a reality and to play a role of building a team and building a staff and having success at the highest level in basketball is very humbling and very rewarding at the same time.
I asked those questions. Un aplauso. I asked those questions because if you remove his title on the flyer, he's just one of us. Embrace the similarities, forget the differences. Es para la gente fe y come mierdas. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Gersson Rosas.
Thank you, guys.